right, hello friends and folks. We are now underway with the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer tournament, which is going to be featuring doubles here in this year, 2023. This is going to be the first official broadcast for the tournament itself, which is going to be featuring two different stages. The first one is going to be 4 weeks of rounds of Swiss, followed by, after that qualifier is finished, the top 4 teams will advance to a bracket phase to be facing off in 2 matches to decide who is going to be walking away with the title of the Grand Champions. Here today, for this first round of Swiss, we are going to be featuring Dustforce Enthusiasts versus Bizarre Adventure. And on comms, my screen name is Covert Muffin, and I am joined by Lion Almanar. How are you doing, Lion?
I'm doing good. Excited for to see this restream and the others and the rest of this tournament. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. And like the two teams we have are composed of Sirius and Lifdoff, who are two very, very experienced, very incredibly good speedrunners of Ori, who have definitely taken part in a number of tournaments throughout the years. Sirius, most notably, walking away as the winner of the Will of the Wisps tournament in 2022, as well as a small Masters tournament we did for the Blind Forest Randomizer as well in 2022. But Liftoff also is just an absolutely terrifying runner. And so they are Bizarre Adventure, I believe. But then Dustforce Enthusiasts is going to be composed of Mattermonkey and AvengedRuler.
Yeah. Also, they're good runners who will do have experience this game and with Randomizer, so definitely be a good match, sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And like Swiss as a format is very fascinating, right? So week 1, it is just random matchups, right? We have 14 teams, and so basically those teams were randomly selected for matchups of 1 versus 1. But then after this week, the only people who will be facing each other are people with the same score, unless there's an odd number out, and that is going to be the case. So there's going to be a team that is 1-0 who will have to face a team that is 0-1 for win-loss with that hyphen in between. But for this one itself, everybody's on equal footing. Everybody has an equivalent chance to roll each other's. And we've seen some excellent matches so far, so I am absolutely going to be looking forward to this one. But we are good to start very soon.
Yeah, as you said, I've been other matches so far, as they were saying there were 7 matches happening. This is the 5th one out of 7 actually for this round. So we're already decent way through it. And so after this one, there's one more today, and then one more match tomorrow. So be good, and then we're gonna get into the next round after, as we're about to start in just a few seconds.
Indeed. So we're going to see Mattermonkey in the top left, AvengedRuler on the bottom left. So Dustforce Enthusiasts are going to be on the left side of your screen. And then we have the Bizarre Adventure on the right with Liftoff in the top right and Sirius in the bottom right with their respective trackers and timers overlapping with their windows. Good luck with your randomizer, my friends.
And as we get started, we see the runners checking which areas have relics, which are the items that we do need to get to finish seed. As start here, gonna go down here at the beginning. First few minutes are gonna be relatively the same for every runner, but first couple pickups that we get will determine where we can go next.
Yeah, definitely. Like, definitely hoping for maybe some sort of divergence, like an early wall interaction or like charge jump pickups so that somebody can go into Blackroot Burrows and the other person can go into Glades. But no, indeed, we found the first Glades relic. And so there are going to be 8 of 11 biomes that are going to have one of these relic pickups in them. And it's just a random pickup, no logic attached to it whatsoever. But yeah, so Grotto, Ginso, and Misty are not going to have relics. Misty, of course, and Ginso are going to be 2 good areas to not have relics in, because oftentimes they come up very late in logic, especially with the shards system.
And as you see now, all the runners are going to be using the altar mechanic to get back to the teleporter. And then, as we've not gotten any seals yet, we're just going to make our way up to the 2 keystone pickups in Glades and see what they get there. So far, 1 keystone we've gotten so far, so maybe we'll get another one and go into Glades or something else that would let us get into Blackroot.
Okay, so in the bottom right, we're going to get that first check from Sirius. It is going to be a skill. I cannot read that. I think that's Bash. It is. Okay, so that adds another pickup into Logic. Oh, but there are 2 keystones, so that potentially is going to be a divergence. As we do see a keystone in the poison water itself. But no, indeed, it does look like that maybe the runners are all going to be heading through the key door. Oh no, we do see an altar. Okay, so in the top right, liftoff is going to be going for the Frankie Walk pickup itself. And I actually really like this play because, yeah, we don't necessarily have stuff in Logic to get into BRB, and this is a really time-intensive pickup to grab, but just with Bash, this pickup does come into Logic. So, nice play. But no, actually, liftoff is not going to be going for the Frankie Walk pickup. Oh no, the cats are cursed. They are instead going to be following their teammate into Glades.
Yeah, and it is, we do see, especially with doubles, sometimes if there's multiple routes to go, it can be good for runners to go in different directions so that both runners aren't spending time checking the same stuff, and so then they can know which items to get in which locations, and then save time later on. But so for now, not a lot that we need to do as just going through Glades. See there, Sunstone Shard, I believe we've seen.
Yeah, nice clear so far from both of the teams. Finding Sunstone Shard this early is nice. I mean, we are guaranteed to need to find at least 2 Sunstone Shards in order to be able to finish every single seed, just simply because that's where the final escape is, right? So we need to start and finish the final escape, which brings us to the credits, and that is where end time is going to be for our runners. So Sunstone Shards an absolute necessity, but we could also find only 2 Sunstone Shards and the Horu Teleporter for Horu access. But normally, if you want to finish out a dungeon key, you need 3 out of the 5 potential shards that are going to be on the map. We just have this system in place just because it makes tracking down and finishing off that dungeon key a little bit more comfy. So no clue system for this tournament. It is definitely always going to be shards. And then the relics are going to be that form of constraint as opposed to force trees, which is the most common one that we use in tournament settings. So interesting overall, like definitely having to clear a lot more pickups and seeds than those respective formats. But with the doubles format, sharing information with your fellow teammate is going to allow us to be able to track down and clear more of the map more efficiently. But here we go. We're going to get the check for that Frankie Walk pickup in the bottom right. It is going to be a keystone. So it's looking more and more like Spirit Caverns is going to be the forced progression. So as liftoff is going to be the first person to get in there. Indeed, they find Climb, Lion.
Yeah, and that's going to be access into Blackroot Burrows. So we wanted to see runners go there afterwards. Liftoff will still continue to check the rest of the Spirit Caverns. Then there, that's access Blackroot. So that's where Liftoff is going now in the top right. See, Sirius is now going to be going over there as well. Pick up the climb.
All right, and we see Liftoff doing an incredible play. They picked up a temporary boost in energy with that mega energy, and then they are going to go over and open this 4 energy door now. The question for them, though, is how deep do they go? Do they go into Death Gauntlet? Do they take this all the way to the waypoint? Or are they just going to back out and then go into Blackroot Burrows? Yeah, they're going to go into Blackroot Burrows. So this is definitely a very safe play from Liftoff because they only have 2 health, so they can only take 1 damage from the poison water. And then if they manipulate the Frankie incorrectly, that could be instant death, losing them the time it took to insert that energy in there. So definitely just going to be coming into Blackroot, maybe taking a bit more of a linear approach, but we'll see what the respective teams end up doing with splitting up their teammates. I would absolutely love to see an early Grotto play from one of these teams.
Yeah, it would be, like as I was saying before earlier, it's always nice to be able to split item checks so that one runner can then skip some items later and save some time. And so we'll see Sirius and Mattermonkey are both be going over there. We'll see if either of them are actually going to go into Death Gauntlet. They do have 4 health. Neither of them has the health at the moment, but potentially they do have 2 extra energy, so it could do a save to get enough health and actually with Bash, Sirius is able to get into Death Gauntlet. Doesn't matter, is falling behind too.
Yeah, I love this play here from Sirius in the bottom right. They are going to be going in, and look at this, Mattermonkey also following suit, getting those early Roving Grotto checks. You have to be so careful with Climb here on that Spore. If you try and bash that, oftentimes you can just pull you into the Spore and kill you instantaneously when you're on 1 HP. But then also just maneuvering this Frankie over to break this floor. This is in logic to lure the Frankie to break that floor, but it's coming from the right. But yeah, Mattermonkey trying to get the check. You need at least, I believe, 2 health in order to be able to get that check, and then 3 to 4 health in order to be able to get out. Maybe with like a bash or a stomp setup, you can do it in 3. But Sirius is going to be making the most leeway, or earlier leeway, into the grotto proper, which is also known as Gumo Hideout. And we see Mattermonkey also following suit, but Liftoff is going to be the one who is making ground in logic the furthest so far for all 4 of our players in the top right. So definitely eyes on Liftoff. It'll be interesting to see what they find. It's looking more and more like a teleporter or blue breakage is going to be the next bit of progression, with the allowance of keystones to be able to get up to the Grove waypoint and then head through Spider Stack for right side access.
We see Sirius getting dash there. It's a nice bash chain. And another Sunstone Shard. Down in Gumo's hideout. We'll see. That is not in logic at the moment, but that is good information to have where that location is. So dash is one of the skills that does save a lot of time. So we'll see if Mattermonkey does end up getting that check. Sirius is going to continue on auto.
Wow, nicely done. Nice fall there from Sirius. Yeah, that was beautiful stuff. So they are going to get the checks on the vault. We're going to see what they are. 2 keystones for their trouble. That is nice. Of course, in early in logic areas, we do expect to find more keystones than not, especially once right side comes into logic. But it'll be interesting to see how our runners actually end up routing through here. Like, are Liftoff and AvengedRuler just going to make a beeline for that dash pickup in the Sunstone Shard? Or are they going to continue checking stuff in areas where it's not too terribly important? And indeed, it looks like, yeah, Liftoff is just immediately going to go through Death Gauntlet for that dash pickup. As AvengedRuler is going to finish out the first area in Blackwood Burrows, which is this top portion here. But yeah, with dash out of logic, that further makes me think that increased probability of grenades or wall jump and double jump are going to be somewhere. Or even just charge jump could also show up. And honestly, I feel like this is a seed that like Sirius is going to feel really confident in, like a race setting, like getting a lot of early power skills and how to utilize them in an effective way, right? They won the Masters tournament, which has some of the meanest pathways with some of the most skill-starved stats. So like, if Sirius is comfortable winning a tournament of that caliber, having a potential jet seed, but then also early power skills, especially with Bash, could be really, really good for them in a race setting.
Yeah, and who's saying that we're seeing, or it's going to be the other runners continue behind and getting that dash, which is always one of the best pickups. Sirius had a bit of trouble, hadn't opened the that floor, and had so go around a bit as Mattermonkey has gotten the mini boss pickup, nothing there, but Sirius is going to follow behind. It's one of those checks that you always want to do because it can be something that you don't want to forget and have to come back for. And especially with Bash, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, totally. Like, I remember a long time ago, like, Vooligan was a proponent. What we used to do is we used to set up like a save and then back up that save, and then if there was nothing on the mini boss, we would quit out and load that backup save. But like, Vula pointed out that like only saves like a couple of seconds, and then more likely than not, you're just going to keep whatever's on the mini boss. So like, spending like the 5 seconds to go out and like back up the save was like never really worth it, which is really funny. But that is beyond the point. Sirius is going to be heading into Blackroot Burrows as Liftoff is going to be working towards that dash pickup as well as the Sunstone Shard. So they're probably going to be potentially taking this frog here, but they also could take a spider shot if they wanted to. Meanwhile, Dustforce Enthusiasts finishing off Blackroot Burrows as AvengedRuler, making it to that dash tree itself. But Mattermonkey is going to be the first one to really pioneer and push for those lower left lower right pickups. And this is a really interesting thing that Sirius decided not to come over here quite yet. And the main reason is because double jump tree is honestly really far away. There's really not that much pickup density, but fortunately with climb, with bash, with dash, it is pretty fast to check. And there are 2 pickups here. So in the top left, we do find a health cell, bringing Mattermonkey's health up to 5. That could come into play and be very important later in the seed itself.
Yeah, I would also want to point out that since we do know which areas the relics are in, I think Sirius is probably keeping in mind is that there is no relic in Grotto. So if there's they don't think that there might be another skill in the area, then there's other areas be more likely to have relics. So there's more likely to be items that you need to check in those areas. So then they can know that there's stuff they can get in other areas where it's not guaranteed that you might get something in Grotto. So one of the reasons why I might choose to go back to Blackroot or where there is a relic, or over towards Swamp Grove.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and like a fascinating thing as well is that Grotto's not in logic yet. We have no idea what the randomizer expected us to be capable of in order to be able to make it over to the right side of the map. So, like, with that being said, right, where is progression, right? Right now, it's looking like Charge Flame Tree is going to be the culprit. That is going to be the place that still has stuff that is potentially in logic. It all depends how many keystones ended up getting printed down on the map itself. But like, what are we going to find there, right? It could just be something as simple as a right side teleporter. It could be Swamp Teleporter. It could be Grotto Teleporter. But also, it could end up being a skill like Grenade, right? And then Grenade would bring dash into logic, right, for being able to get access to dash. But then also it could just be like Charge Flame in order to go through Spider Sack area, right? So there's still a lot of stuff that it could be. But hold the phone, we actually ended up finding our next skill, which is going to be Double Jump. And that was found by Mattermonkey in the top left with the EXP pickup above that Grotto waypoint. So very, very nice find, especially with Climb.
Yeah, and so that's always to me nice. That makes it easier to get around the areas, and with the able to no matter be able to go farther up into Grove. And Sirius does find wall jump at the Charge Flame Tree. That's another skill. So we'll see. Or the runner's go. We'll see if Sirius and Liftoff do end up getting that double jump anytime soon. So now that could be advantage for Dustforce Enthusiasts.
Indeed, and so we have the pickup at right before the start of Boulderscape in that Blackroot Burrows area was Grotto Teleporter, but then also that's non-logic with Climb, but finding the wall jump at the Charge Flame Tree area is indeed going to be that their right side progression. So yeah, it's honestly looking more and more like Upper Swamp Loop, Grove proper are going to be great places to check. We do have the potential for Air Dash to come into logic with the Energy Cell in Spider Sack area. So there's a lot of stuff that we can check now with this skill set, which is like pretty massive. But we do know that with wall jump and double jump, that does put dash into logic as well. So like if they find Stomp, Lower Blackroot could be a potential play that we see from our runners. There's just a lot of different stuff now that our runners could end up checking. But for what our runners are doing, Sirius in the bottom right is going to be heading into Upper Swamp Loop and or Grove proper. And then also we see Liftoff now going to be getting that wall jump pickup and then deciding potentially where to go from here. And then Mattermonkey is going to be checking Upper Swamp Loop as AvengedRuler is jumping back into that Gumo hideout section, probably potentially to grab their dash pickup.
Yeah, and it looks like Matter did actually find Stomp in Grove, and I'm going to be going back towards Swamp Loop. So we'll see one other skill that they have as both teams now, Matter and Sirius, are going to be doing Swamp Loop in opposite directions. Yeah, we'll see. Liftoff is going in the area where that Stomp pickup was, so we'll see if he does end up getting it.
Yeah, we also ended up, I believe, finding the Grove relic. That pickup might be in Grotto, but no relic in Grotto. Yep, you're right, it's Grove. So we do find the Grove relic. It's in the Iceless pickup, which is a really nice spot for them. The Grove Relic in particular can be kind of gnarly, but with Stomp and eventually probably Ultra Defense with like a good amount of HP, the Poison Water Swim really isn't too bad to check. So nice Grove Relic for our runners. But really, what it's going to come down to is who now is going to go to the left side first. I think that's going to be one of the more important things for the state of the race itself, right? How long does it take Team Bizarre Adventures on the right to be able to track down that Stomp pickup? Honestly, not long, because Liftoff already has it.
Yeah.
So really, like with Wall Jump, Bash, and Stomp as like literally the seed that we saw this morning, it like that puts left side into logic. So how long is our runners going to stay on the right side of the map, and how long do they put off making that play? Because so far with this skill set in this seed, it is pretty jet. The one primary thing that we usually have in early, if not mid game, is blue breakage that we're missing. But we do have charge dash, so we can still check the petrified plants as well as get through those blue walls.
Yeah, so we'll see if either runner does, or any of the runners do end up deciding to go over towards Valley. There's something like that they could do now, but it's also something that like get there and there's stuff to do. It's also like at the moment, is currently not in logic without blue breakage, I believe.
Stomp just breaks the wall.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. With because they should have enough keystones to get through the door.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if stuff does end up going over there. It's going in that direction. As Sirius picks up the Stomp.
I think there's also like a really cursed route Lion in Logic now. I think it came in like 3.0 where you go through Spider Sack area with Stomp. So you have like Bash, double jump, wall jump, and with Stomp. And then you like go through like you're doing like an all skills run, right? And then you just stomp the wall, which is really funny. But no, dude, there's the Swamp Relic that we are finding in the top left. That is going to be right next to Stomp Tree. So no, like Clean Water is looking less and less like it's going to be required for the seed overall. But still, we have Black Root, right? We have Grenade Gates that could potentially come out. So this seed still could be very long and lengthy, but pretty nice relic locations so far, Lion.
Yeah, it's so far from the ones we've seen, not been too many there, too out of the way. Speaking of relics and areas that might be out of the way, Liftoff did just find the location of the Forlorn Teleporter just above our lake. However, we do need to have at least 2 Mudsteel shards to get that, which neither team has yet, but that is always a nice, easier way to get into Forlorn.
All right, we do find Grove Teleporter behind the charge jump gated pickup in Swamp. Nicely done from Mattermonkey. Always impressive to see that double bash chain. But also, we have 4 out of 5 Sunstone Shards, Lion. So they're pretty early in Logic, So honestly, making a Horu play here is potentially a really solid thing for finding something else like Glide or a left side teleporter. Maybe it's like Saru Teleporter and it's going to be like a climb charge jump seed, right? So honestly, if AvengedRuler continues to go towards Horu here in the bottom left, we could potentially find something that would be massive. But as our runners are progressing through, we see Sirius now making a beeline for Valley entry. I like this play, Lion. We're seeing Sirius potentially just make that really fast, really early left side action. This is an awesome maneuver, and we've seen it pay off in a lot of races so far in this tournament.
Yeah, so we'll see if there does end up being something over in the left side. So there is a lot that can be done here. Much of it is a bit difficult, especially going all the way up to Sorrow. But the current skill set, it is something that they can do. So there is still no glide. However, we are seeing Sirius going into Valley, so we'll see what those pickups are in a minute, as AvengedRuler, as you were saying, is making his way over to Horu. So we'll see if there does end up being anything in Horu. That was also something that there could be sometimes be in Horu, and especially since don't have the Horu teleporter. That is always something that can take a while to get.
All right. So, I mean, there's so much action going on, chat. We have Sirius, who's going to be the first one to the left side in the bottom right. We have Liftoff, who's going into lower black root, which with Dash and Stomp puts a number of pickups into Logic, so nice checks there. And then we see AvengedRuler in the bottom left tracking down a third Gumon Seal Shard. And with Forlorn Teleporter on the map, we could potentially see a Forlorn play without necessarily having to go down all the way through Valley. So really interesting stuff. I love to see this type of split. Both teams are putting on an excellent showcase and definitely showing why they are incredibly knowledgeable in the randomizer itself. But Sirius in the bottom right, were they able to get fast stompless? They look good on time. Yes, they were. Nicely done from Sirius. Very precise trick. Very impressive to see, especially in a tournament setting. Oh wow, there it is, liftoff. With that Forlorn Teleporter, they found a second Gumon Seal Shard, which was gated by Dash and Stomp. So they could potentially see a early in Logic Forlorn Teleporter play, because we do know now where 4 out of the 5 shards are. What is this seed line? There's just so many interesting things going on here.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas that we can get to, and so it's a lot of all the runners kind of going in different locations, going different areas, trying to make sure, and so allows us to be able to check things very quickly, but also be a challenge later on if you try to remember, both for the runners, remember where everything is and remember where each runner still needs to go to. But there's still a lot to go and do. Sirius, as you see, is going to be going and checking a lot of things in the valley as liftoff continuing on with through Blackroot, as there is still a relic in this area, and there it is. As Mattermonkey is going to be also making a play to go into valley, it looks like. Just a bit behind the other Dark Adventures, but still we're going to see that play over the left side, which is good. We'll see does end up continuing along where Sirius has gone lower into valley, or just to go across the left side.
Yeah, indeed. So I think if I had to pick a team right now who I thought was in the lead, it would probably be Team Bizarre Adventurers on the right-hand side of your screen. Just simply because Sirius has done so much more Valley. They've checked all the way down to Forlorn Door. We have Liftoff in Forlorn itself. We have gone through a lot of lower Blackroot, so we know that is probably grenade gated for that relic in Blackroot Burrows, which is not really what our runners may be hoping for. So Lost Grove in particular can be a very gnarly area to be able to get access to and go through. So we might see a seed where we are absolutely gated by grenades. So maybe a Forlorn escape in the future, but without glide, that is incredibly difficult. And without something like grenade jumps or even just climb charge jump to begin with, or bash grenade, it is really tricky to get through that escape sequence. So we'll see what our runners do. But meanwhile, Dustforce Enthusiasts, we do see Mattermonkey in the top left going to be making that play for Valley entrance itself. And then on the bottom left, we're going to see AvengedRuler catching up, grabbing that relic there for Swamp, maybe collecting the tree, and then for that health cell, and then moving out to a new location to be able to check some stuff. But Sirius is also making that play for Horu. I love to see this from our runners, Lion.
Yeah, it looked like Sirius found the Horu TP down in Valley, and then just kind of went straight over there. And is going to be able to check a decent amount of pickups in here, because you have Stomp, which a lot of things there. Oh, and there's some clean water in Horu.
That's actually pretty big. We could potentially see a sense play coming out with that clean water this early in the seed, but I also am not entirely sure what Liftoff and Sirius like to do for their routing, as well as AvengedRuler and Mattermonkey. So it'll be interesting to see how the ability trees end up shaping out. But with clean water, Ultra Defense becomes a lot less useful, but there still is that Sorrow Relic to be worried about. But just doing enough zombie Oris in general can also just sort of sustain you instead. But now, like, if it is going to be the Lost Grove long swim for the relic itself, after tracking down that grenade pickup potentially, like with clean water, that's no longer a concern with having to get through those crushers and that very long swim in general. We do see AvengedRuler coming back to Horu for a little bit, and then is going to be teleporting to Grotto to maybe check some stuff that they didn't get on the first pass. And then meanwhile, Liftoff is going to be grabbing some stuff in Lower Valley before potentially heading up to try and track down that Sorrow.
Yeah. Obviously, we still don't have Glide, so Sorrow can be a bit difficult. However, It is, the most of it is still doable, and we'll see if Soft does choose to go in that direction. There is a relic there, and if we're not, like, we may not find Glide, right? And so there's still a chance that like they could go up and get there, and if you find that Zara relic, can definitely be like a huge advantage to like them, just like knowing where that is. But we'll see if that is the play. As Sirius has continued up into Haru, and it looks like liftoff is gonna follow behind him. As Sirius has gone through a lot of Haru now, as Matter in the top left is also going to be going farther down into Valley. So see, so he decides to go after that.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So Sirius decided to skip a lot of the middle rooms in Horu on their way up, which is interesting. Like, Didu, my teammate, does like this play as well, like skipping the like middle rooms that are really fast to do. So very interesting routing from Sirius in the bottom right as they're going through Horu. But R1 definitely has some of the most pickups out of any room. And there's a water vein shard, so that is going to open up Ginso if and when our runners want to go into there. But there is actually no relic in Ginso, so having a complete water vein doesn't really do too much. But if they are really starved for like getting skills and like access to areas, then maybe that Ginso tree could be a decent play. But in this seed, with like all of the finished dungeon keys, really this is just Indiana Jones mode at this point for our runners. Like, if they can just track down the relics, they have what they need to do the final escape. So that's all that is going to really come down to. So I think, if anything, finding Grenade is probably going to be the biggest find, potentially. But then also Glide, if our runners are feeling uncomfortable with doing Glideless Sorrow. But with this skill set, we can check everything in Sorrow, except for, I believe, just the Grenade gates. Because there's shenanigans we can do with, like, frogs and spider shots and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and Sirius also in there, once going up to the top of Horu, did find the relic in R1 out on the energy cell, I believe it was. Is now going to be going down into Valley as liftoff is now going to be going over to Swamp area and going to be looking for the relic in Swamp, which Dustforce Enthusiasts do have already. So that's and you notice as the liftoff did go over to get the clean water before going to Swamp, just in case it was needed, because there are many pickups in Swamp that could require that.
All right, nice check on facts by Sirius in the bottom right. Of course, it was nothing, so Sirius is now going to be heading up into Sorrow Pass itself. And as Line was saying, this can be really scary. Like, we don't have Charge Jump, we don't have Glide, we don't have Grenades. So a lot of the checks in here are going to be incredibly difficult depending on how Sirius is going to opt to go through. But once again, if they can just track down that relic, that is the only thing that's really gating them from being able to finish up the seed. So heck yeah, Indiana Jones mode. We're definitely just all trying to grab those relics to put them in a museum. But yeah, so just a bit of a race update. We see liftoff now coming into Swamp proper itself. They have cleaned the water so that they can check Swamp Swim if they do want to. But yeah, no relic in Misty Grove or Ginso itself. But meanwhile, Dustforce Enthusiasts on the left, we do see AvengedRuler, who is going to be heading into Valley proper. And then Mattermonkey is going to be starting to get caught up in Blackroot Burrows, having to go through the slow and painful way of restoring the light to Blackroot Burrows. And they have 9 health. Wow, that is super comfy.
It's not something you really see normally. Most runners will end up going to Blackroot at some point, but wasn't anything that they really needed early in Blackroot, and so this area Matter didn't end up getting. And there's the relic in Sorrow that we see from Sirius, so not too bad of a location in the plant on the left side. So we'll be see what sort is needed. We have seen most of the relic locations so far. So most players don't have all the relics, but we'll see. Both teams do have majority of the relics. split about between each player. So they're getting pretty close to be able to get everything they need to finish the seed.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting here that Sirius is still checking stuff in Sorrow. I would have like almost expected them to just immediately get out of there and then try and find it. But once again, we might need a grenade to be able to finish out the seed itself. So Sirius in the bottom right, double bashing a frog, nicely done. Then going to drop a save and take the tumbleweed instead, because the tumbleweed is a much nicer. And loses the tumbleweed, but able to do a nice spike climb to check some additional stuff. Finds an energy cell for their trouble, and so they are now going to dip out and then make their way to grab that swamp relic and continue on in the seed. So very interesting stuff. Really the scary thing right now, Lion, is that we don't have a grenade, and stuff could be grenade gated, right, for being able to finish out the seed, right? We have everything we need for the final escape itself, but for tracking down the relics to be able to start the final escape, that indeed is not what we have. So, like, the thing that could be massive is tracking down grenade, but then also if one of our teams ends up finding glide, that makes Forlorn Escape a million times easier. And like, honestly, we can't do Forlorn Escape quite yet, so we don't have the necessary skills. So definitely hoping to find either glide or grenade. So that could massively change the state of the race, but definitely I would put Bizarre Adventures in the lead right now.
Yeah, and I believe as far as they know, Sirius, I believe, has checked everything that's not grenade locked in Valley, so is us assuming that the Valley relic is most likely grenade locked. So that is something to keep in mind. And I believe, other than that, Bizarre Adventures do have every relic. On the other side, I believe the other one that Dustforce Enthusiasts have not found is the one in Haru, where AvengedRuler is at the moment. It's in R1. So let's see. It does get tracked down, but yeah, at the moment it's really just going to be see if either team does find grenade, because as you were saying, it's not going to be that easy to get the grenade clue in Forlorn Escape with the skill set.
Yeah, indeed. So, like, if I were the runners in this situation, which is, like, it's so difficult to route, like, in these situations especially, where you're just trying to keep track of what was in logic, what isn't in logic. But the two places that I would probably check right now, if I were a runner, would either be the other horror rooms that are, like, easy to do, because, like, early stomp, early bash in logic with double jump, wall interaction, like, that, like, definitely looks like easy access in horror for me. And then the other place I would actually go is Misty. Like, no joke. I probably where I wouldn't go is in Sorrow, or Ginso. Because, like, we did find water vein shards pretty late in logic locations, so it really could end up being in, like, Misty at this point. So it'll be interesting to see where our runners go. Like, of course, you never really want to go into Misty because it feels bad, because it feels like it's going to be really late in logic, but we have everything that we need to be able to go and do Misty. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, casually, the only thing we would be missing is glide, and indeed we do. We see Sirius making the Misty play. Heck yeah, I love to see this. Me and Sirius are on the same wavelength right now.
Yeah, and this is an area where there are plenty of skills and there are plenty of items that they can check. So we'll see if we do end up getting anything here. It's one of the areas that definitely could have the grenade. But at the moment, that's the only thing that the runners really are looking for. So yeah, we'll see if it's found there. As Batter is going down to check some pickups in lower Blackroot. But we'll see. As it does get a bit trapped, so it's gonna have to use the teleporter to get out.
Wow, Lion. Sirius in the bottom right, tracking down Sorrow teleporter pretty deep. Anything behind Keystone 1 requires a lot of stuff, like a lot of skills in logic, for that pickup location in particular to come to logic. So that is actually, honestly, a massive find. So now I'm thinking, where's charge jump, right? And then that increases the probability that Sorrow also could now have that glide, have that grenade pickup. So I take it back. Now I'm thinking Sorrow, man. I'm thinking that it's going to be climb, charge, jump, Sorrow, teleporter is going to be the potential thing that is going to be gating our runners. So Sirius now is going to come to climb tree. Let's see what pickup is going to be found here. Oh my goodness, it's charge jump. Are you kidding me? That is so big. That is massive. I would not be surprised to see Sirius just alt R immediately and go into Sorrow Pass. But no, they are going to continue checking stuff in Misty. I do like this play. Oh, backing up their save. Dude, this is such a heads-up play from Sirius. And now, are they going to go? No, they're going to go into Forlorn, most likely for the Relic. Or, no, are they going to do the escape? Why? Are we going to see a glideless Forlorn escape?
Might, and I mean, with Starship, it does become a bit easier. It is still a very difficult area, but it's really smart thing we see Sirius do there is back up the save to see if if it does end up being that the relic or that the grenade is in Misty, you can just use the clue and then go back to that save in Misty and not have to do the first half of Misty again, which can take a few minutes. So very good good play to see from Sirius is see if we'll get where we get the grenade, but could be anywhere.
All right, big find for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts. In the bottom left, AvengedRuler was able to track down the BRB relic. It was in lower Blackroot, and it was the grenade throw puzzle. So what you can do is you can not charge up, but you can end up getting over the instant death spikes with some nice bashes in order to get the relic, and that is exactly what they did. Mattermonkey, meanwhile, in the top left is going to be checking some stuff. We, of course, know where the Sorrow relic is. They are going to have to go into Sorrow and then go to the lower left side of Sorrow in order to track that down. So we'll see what they end up doing for that. Or maybe they're going to make a play for Missy. No, it looks like they do want to go for Sorrow. But eyes on the bottom right. Sirius able to get out of the starting area. That is probably the more difficult portion, but they do have a save anywhere up just in case they take a death, and they are going through Forlorn Escape. Next, they are going to end up breaking this wall, going over to the right, then going to do a climb charge jump in order to get some height, and then hide into this little crevice in order to get through. Now, the hardest part of the escape is not over, chat. It's upcoming right here. Sirius is climbing up. It's not over yet. They're now going to come over and try and surf on the rocks, and they get through first try. It's in Ginso, Lion. Let's go, Sirius. What a big play. Bizarre Adventurers is absolutely in the lead here, and they are looking to make a statement and take game number 1 in the first of 4 rounds of Swiss in this tournament. What a run from Sirius.
You see just immediately what the Bizarre Adventurers do is they have to get the TP, so liftoff is going to go from the top, and Sirius is going to go in from the bottom. Just to be able to check all of Ginso as fast as they can, and so that is going to be a huge advantage here. As Matter is going to be going into Sorrow, going to be likely picking up that Sorrow relic, and we'll see where in Ginso that grenade ends up being. Could be really anywhere.
648 experience in the first pickup in Ginso. Yeah, I wonder how late in logic Ginso is. So for you at home, if you're unfamiliar with the randomizer, the higher an EXP value that you find, the later in logic the pickup must be. Of course, they roll randomly within a range, but the range is a lot lower, and the max value is a lot lower earlier in logic. But then the later in logic, the higher the range. So you can still find like 50 experience in Ginso, but you have a much higher probability of getting 600 or like 300 to 400 if it is indeed a late in logic area. So grenade being this buried in a seed this late is like really, really massive and like definitely telling. Meanwhile, on the left, Dustforce Enthusiasts, we see AvengedRuler working through Forlorn to track down that relic, and Mattermonkey is going to get their hands on the Sorrow relic themselves.
And Sirius did just find the grenade, it looks like, in the last 4th keystone, just before the bash tree. And so we'll probably be using that to go and find the Valley relic, and finishing off the seed. There are other relics still that Sirius does need to get. Sirius still needs to go back to Swamp and needs to get the Forlorn relic and the one in Blackroot Burrows. But liftoff has gotten all of those already, so Sirius knows where to go, and so it'll take that long. It's either this pickup here, you see on the bottom right, or it could be in the swim. And
it is indeed Valley Long Swim, but yeah, definitely hardcore Indiana Jones mode. I almost said Lumberjack mode, but they, like Team Bizarre Adventurers, they're just straight up going for relics. That's it. get the relics, get into this into the escape, finish out the seed. Like that is their prerogative. That is all they need to do to finish out. So I would be very surprised if they don't pull a win here. Period. But like AvengedRuler is making the play for the stomp gated pickups in Forlorn, and this could be Glide. No, it is not. Just some experience. So nothing really in the stomp gated pickups for AvengedRuler. So we're going to see how Dustforce Enthusiasts continues on with the seed and what they end up doing in order to progress. As Mattermonkey is now going to be going over for a cool setup for Fax. I don't think I have seen this setup before. Oh, the frog died.
Yeah, and this pickup is also one of the ones that can be pretty difficult, as Dustforce Enthusiasts so far have not found the charge jump. So it does mean that you have to use this frog shot to be able to get here. And Sirius did just get the relic in Valley Long Swim, and so we'll be continuing down into Forlorn, and then going over to Blackroot and Swamp to the last two relics, as Lifdoff is going to go and finish up his seed as well, and they make their way towards the end.
Yeah, great seed from both of our teams. Really impressive to see what they have done throughout this seed in particular. Another really tough seed. We've seen a lot of like tough seeds in the qualifier itself. These early bash seeds can be really, really tricky, especially when you find Stomp that early in Logic as well. So both teams putting on an amazing showcase, as AvengedRuler in the bottom left is now going to be heading over for that Sorrow Relic, taking some intentional damage boosts, and then, oh no, taking one unintentional damage boost right before they make it to the frog. But no problem, they are right back into the action, going to be jumping and taking it down at the same place. No, take my energy, AvengedRuler, I believe in you, you can do this. But then, meanwhile, Mattermonkey is now continuing to try Fax in order to be able to get through, as Sirius has 7 out of 8 relics, Liftoff with 6 out of 8 relics, and they are going to be tracking down the respective 3 relics between the 2 of them before heading over to Mount Horu for that final escape sequence itself.
And Sirius does just need the 1 relic in Swamp. It was near the Stomp Tree, I believe the experience just to the right of the Stomp Tree, but somewhere in that area. That is, as Liftoff is going to go back and get the grenade from Inso, or make his way over towards Sorrow and Valley.
Yeah, indeed. And so Sirius is going to be the first one to enter the final escape in the bottom right-hand corner. And with grenade jumps, bash, and dash, yeah, this is going to be a very, very fast final escape. So don't blink if you're watching Sirius's screen in the bottom right-hand corner, as Bizarre Adventurers are on the precipice of taking game number 1 for their first round of Swiss. And that is a massive advantage, going up 1-0 in the first match. So Sirius is absolutely looking to close this out, as well as their teammate Liftoff. Meanwhile, Dustforce Enthusiasts in the bottom left, AvengedRuler is going to be checking Dash Plant to see if that is indeed the relic. But we do, or if it is something important like Glide or Grenade. But we do know, indeed, that Grenade's in Ginso. So most likely not going to find anything here. But I actually don't know if like people have actually ended up checking Dash Plant yet. I honestly don't know.
I'm not sure, but see, yeah, definitely could be something there. It's like for now, on Dustforce side, AvengedRuler is about to go and check it. See if anything is there. That's like, oh, that was the Ginso teleporter.
Indeed. Okay. Yeah. Ginso TP
Matter is going to be going in. Matter's going to be going and checking some other pickups in Haru. Definitely also a chance that there is something like Glide here. So, see.
Yeah, honestly, I do think like Haru has probably the best chance to actually have Glide within it, because we know where Sorrow TP is. It's late in Misty in Logic. We also do know where Grenade is. It's in Ginso, which is also incredibly late in Logic. So that like one thing that they're going to want to track down, they are going to potentially find Glide here, but that only gets them Forlorn Escape or that hint itself. But with Quad Jump, Sirius was able to do it with a Climb Charge Jump. But Sirius getting a soft lock at the end of the escape, that can honestly be incredibly nerve-wracking, because our respective teams are not allowed to watch the other team. They're not allowed to watch their streams, right? Because then they would be getting information as to where pickups potentially are. So Sirius has no idea where Dustforce Enthusiasts are, but I would be surprised if Sirius did not feel like he was in the lead after what they did in Forlorn Escape to track down Grenade.
Yeah, especially in those, Sirius will get on the second attempt. And he will make his way through and just hold right and be the first one to finish. Liftoff is just going to be going and getting this relic in Sorrow, I believe, and then afterwards we'll be going and getting his final relic in Valley Long Swim.
All right, good stuff from them. We see Mattermonkey continuing to go around in Horu itself in the top left. They are coming into L4. So the way that we number the rooms is at the very top, there's a right side room and there's a left side room. That is number 1. Then if you go down a level, there's another right side, left side. And this continues on for 4 additional stories throughout Mount Horu itself. So in L4 here, which is the bottom left room in Horu, Mattermonkey is going to stomp the peg, which is going to allow them to be able to get a pickup chat. Right, and there's no lava on Horu because we have that modded out, because otherwise every single seed you would just go R1, R2, R3, R4, L1, and then you would just go down every time. But without the lava in the main room to start with the modification that the randomizer has done, this allows for a lot more versatility with going through Horu. Right? What room do you do first, etc., etc. So impressive stuff. In the meantime, we see Liftoff grabbing their final relic in the top right, and they are going to be making their way to Mount Horu for the final escape. This is absolutely going to be a victory for Bizarre Adventurers, unless Liftoff wants to go and do something for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so, and not finish the seed.
You never know, but probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But the thing I want to point out, in the bottom left, AvengedRuler is going down and will likely find this grenade pickup pretty soon. Except one thing to note is there are no keystones. So may at the moment does not have 3 water vein shards. So it is so close, but I don't believe this pickup here was keystone. Not so. It's gonna be so close to that grenade, but not gonna quite be able to get it. So they don't have a 3rd shard. They can't go in from the bottom. So
yeah, I don't know if Bob is watching, but if Bob is not watching, I imagine that they're either feeling comfort by having a fellow speedrunner also get floored by keystones, but also who knows? Maybe that just makes Bob even more mad. For people who don't know, Epicat X is also known as Bob in the community, and in their doubles race, they got to a door. They were short by a keystone, but oh no, Liftoff in the top right does end up spawning Kuro, but that's okay. They do have grenade bash. They are able to get through, so all they have to do is bash up the lanterns, and I would imagine that they just skip doing the final grenade jump here. Yeah, they are, so they are going to take that time loss in order to just guarantee that they're able to finish out the seed. Now all that's left for Liftoff is holding to the right for about a minute. So really nicely done from Bizarre Adventurers. Very impressive showing, and this is absolutely making a statement and causing any other team that ended up watching this match to shake in their boots. Very impressive stuff from Sirius and Liftoff. GG, well played. They are going to go up 1-0 in this first round of Swiss out of 4 rounds that they must do to qualify for brackets potentially.
And I think we all see now is Matter has gotten the Horror Relic and the another Water Vein Shard. So we'll see if they does try to use that to go into the bottom of Ginso. As AvengedRuler, again, is still trying to get another attempt at fact cell. This is a very difficult pickup to get, and they do not know that this is not the relic, but I believe this is the only thing they can check without getting grenades. So I kind of want to be hopeful that this does end up being the relic. But we do know that it is not the case, and that grenade is required. But it's tough, especially since they have not found charge jump anywhere, which is in Misty, and it's probably not the first thing on their mind at the moment.
All right, Liftoff is going to finish with an official time of 51:03. GG between them, putting the average about, that's like a 4-minute differential, so about a 49, like a pretty low 49 at that. So very impressive stuff. Like getting an average of sub 50 per team is like very difficult to do, especially with a seed this difficult and this technical to speed run through very, very fast. Like getting a sub 50 for that is incredibly impressive. But meanwhile, we do see Mattermonkey coming back into Forlorn itself. And are they potentially going to be making a play here for the escape? It looks like they are triggering the cutscene, so we might actually see a glideless Forlorn escape for Mattermonkey as well. So if they are able to get that tidbit of information, that grenade is in Ginso, this could be really, really big for Dustforce Enthusiasts, as we saw it was for Bizarre Adventurers.
Yeah, and that really is it's gonna be the thing, and they will find that out. Looks like that is where Matter is going. Let's see. So that is the only, at the moment, that is the only thing that they need, is just to get that final relic, which at the moment they know has a 2/3 chance, I believe, of being grenade locked. And see, at the moment, this pickup that AvengedRuler is still trying to get is definitely one of the most difficult pickups to try to get in the game if you don't have a charge jump.
Yeah, so like the real secret of Fax is that you need to be a specific distance away from the frog in order to get the shot to go high enough. The height that the shot can go is dependent on how close you are to the frog when they start their shot. But oh, nice setup from AvengedRuler. I absolutely love that setup. I use the same one. And they are able to get Fax. So now all they have to do is be able to get up there to the pickup itself, which is pretty tricky when you don't have wall jump. So they're just going to come over, grab the frog once again, and then most likely like double bash the frog or like double bash up to get the shot. But no, AvengedRuler takes a death. They could have just grabbed another frog. Oh, AvengedRuler. That's okay, it's okay. But Mattermonkey in the top left is now coming over to try and get through Forlorn Escape with this skill set. And I believe they have not been into Misty's. Yeah, so they don't actually have charge jump to get out of here. So I wonder how they're gonna get through. I think they might be going for this double, this damage boost method that Sirius posted recently in the Discord, but this is incredibly difficult. And not only that, they have to get through that last bend that we saw Sirius get through flawlessly.
Yeah, it is very difficult because obviously you're meant to have glide in to do it, and so without glide, it's very difficult, especially without another way to get up there without charge. Charge jump is the one skill that makes it easier if you don't have glide. So very difficult, and especially like very, very hard if it's not something that you will have to do and very often. And so see, Matter decides to keep trying with this, or it looks like might be trying to go and look for that charge jump.
All right, but it sounds like we do have our victors here on deck, and they are interested in joining us for an interview. So we're going to do this while Dustforce Enthusiasts continues to chip away at the seed. We're going to see if they go for Misty. We're going to see if they go for the lower Ginso portions where we know Grenade is buried late in logic. So we'll be interested to see what Dustforce Enthusiasts does. But GG, Team Bizarre Adventurers. What an incredible performance that you put on for us.
Thank you so much, Muffin.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so let's get into the seed. I mean, like very, very early power skills. Was this feeling like it was an advantage for you in this matchup versus Dustforce Enthusiasts? Or were you a little bit worried that the seed could end up being as cruel and maniacal as we saw here today?
In general, I would say that dash is a skill that creates huge gaps just in how much practice you have with it. But at least speaking for myself, I don't think much about advantage or disadvantage compared to the other team. It's always just finish this seed as fast as possible on average.
Yeah.
Interesting. How about for you, Lifdoff?
Yeah, kind of the same. The finding the early bash and then the early dash is, of course, skills that you like to have because we're both practiced with them, but I wasn't really thinking about what this means for the other team. We were just focusing on our match, I guess. There was enough to focus on there that we didn't have time to worry about what the other team was doing.
Yeah, really incredible stuff. So another question is when did you decide to go to the left side of the map, right? Because like we've seen so many of these seeds in qual so far that are just the early bash and stomp, and then like whatever is needed is like on the left side of the map. And yeah, it was a little bit buried in Misty itself with that charge jump find, but like indeed, like that was like a really massive play that you folks do. So what's sort of your trigger, if you will, for when you decide to send somebody to the left?
There was a lot of confusion for us about the logical progression in the seed, and I'm not sure we ever really pieced the chain together. I would say going to the left was about the point in time where it just seemed impossible to track down where the actual progression was, and digging random pickups in the progression chain didn't seem worth it anymore.
Yeah.
Because we did have Stomp and Bash, which does unlock left side, but I don't think both of them were within logical chain. It was all a bit weird.
Yeah, it's always tricky like that, like keeping logic in mind and stuff like that. And it is interesting that like the relics honestly were in pretty nice locations. Like the only mean one was the grenade gated one, and that was just simply because grenade was buried. Like if grenade was in a nice spot, honestly, this seed was like pretty jet in general. Like all the power skills were in pretty good locations, except for the charge jump in Misty. So it was really fascinating. If I were to give a guess, I think Glide is somewhere in Horu, I think is what's left, and I don't think people have checked Blades or Grenadzer yet. But I mean, yeah, Grenade's so late that it's not going to gate Glide. I don't know, fascinating seed.
Definitely fascinating, yeah.
Energy was also very starved in the early game, which at least led us to believe that if we missed something, it probably wasn't for Energy Vault or something, but you never know.
Yeah, balanced skills can be mean like that.
I spent so long of the seed on like 3 health and 1 energy. It was... I started finding all the energy at the end, and health picked up nicely as well. But it was... I think I was like 30 minutes into the seed and I was still like on my starting values. That's never a fun time, especially if C-Dash is your only blue break. Yeah.
Yeah. Another really fascinating routing play that you made, Sirius, that I am a massive fan of is, or I can't remember if it was lifdoff or Sirius. I think it might have been Sirius. But the decision to go into Horu really early in the seed, like a lot earlier than we normally see a Horu play. Was that just because you were like, oh, like most likely all of the Sunstone shards are in like early to mid game logic areas, so Horu has a decent chance of having some sort of force progression for late game stuff?
That exactly, yes. I don't think we found all 5 of them, but at some point, I would say sometimes starting at 2 if it's really early, otherwise starting at 3 shards really close together. It just really seems like, okay, CGen clearly plays these all at once, maybe it wants me to go there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that in progression roll? Oh, yeah. That
looks like...
Oh, is that Glide? That's Glide!
That's Glide.
Glide is found by Mattermonkey in the top left. It was progression ball in Spider Sack area. Oh no. So I guess that answers that question about energy.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh, that's
what a
terrible.
seed, dude.
What a seed. Oh, that's so great. I hope all the seeds in brackets are like this. Wow. Cool. Lion, do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I can ask like kind of like a closing question for Sirius and Liftoff.
I was just gonna ask about the going Sirius, so like what you're thinking about, like once you kind of got that charge jump in Misty, which like gone that far, was the first thing you thought of trying to go to get to like Forlorn Escape and to try to find Grenade? I know at that point that was like really what you were looking for.
Yes, I did make a backup because I couldn't think immediately about whether this Forlorn Escape was possible, but indeed it was, and that's the first thing I went to.
We had discussed Forlorn Escape earlier, and had concluded that the skill set we had at that time just wasn't quite viable enough. So when Sirius found that charge jump, that was of course the first thing we thought of, because we knew we only needed Grenade in order to finish up the seed.
I believe there is a thing where if you start the Forlorn Escape, go outside, and then do the revisit warp, it warps you far up, and then with dash and quad jump you can probably do a thing, but those are all really new features, and I'm not sure, like, I don't know. It would be weird to use that, I guess.
Interesting, yeah. That is interesting. That is good to know, though, for future races. I actually hadn't even thought of using that feature in that way. Yeah, that being said, so week 1, you're done. Your match is over. So congratulations once again on going up 1-0 in Swiss. Do you have like any sort of like ambitions or like goals for the overall tournament itself, or are you just kind of like focused on taking one match at a time and enjoying the competition?
Certainly. Ambition, continue doing fish strats plus final grenade jump every time and don't die to it anymore.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do want to say that, yeah.
Yeah, I guess my personal ambition would be to have a bit less nerves than in this match, where I fumbled a lot of the early stuff. I forgot to put down the save for fake flippers, which I don't remember when's the last time that happened to me. I don't know, get my start playing at the level that I know I'm capable of, and that I have also seen myself play at during practice. That's kind of my personal ambition, to better show what I can do on the matches that actually matter. And then
Awesome.
we'll see if that takes us into the bracket. Would be nice, but as long as I'm happy with my performance, I'm not too fussed about how the final placement ends up being.
Cool, awesome stuff. Well, I'm really looking forward to see how you improve and tackle that as the tournament progresses, Liftoff, as well as Sirius. Folks, thank you so much for joining us with this interview, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the remaining 3 rounds of Swiss, where everybody is going to be playing at least 4 matches. Then the top 4 teams at the end of Swiss are going to be qualified for a bracket phase with 2 final matches, a semifinals, followed by a grand finals match to decide who's going to be walking away with that title. But that being said, Dustforce Enthusiasts, nice split here. We have somebody in from the entrance of Ginso, as well as going through Ginso Escape itself. Of course, we know where Grenade is. It's on one of the keystones before the first 4-key door at the very bottom of the dungeon itself. And Dustforce Enthusiasts came so incredibly close with actually tracking down Grenade, but they just didn't have enough keystones by the time that they actually ended up arriving at that 4-key door when they got down to Bash Tree, because they came from the top, didn't key dupe at the top, and then there were like no keystones in Ginso. But good stuff. We do see 2 more energy cells in the top left for Mattermonkey, and they are about to find that grenade pickup and then track down the remaining relic and be able to start and finish that final escape.
Yeah, let's see. Matter's gonna get it just now, as AvengedRuler is gonna go. I don't wonder where we're going at the moment, but I think it's just I was trying to get some keystones. The key dupe here. Just didn't get a 3rd water vein shard, which was in Haru, and so I'm gonna get the key dupe and go back from the top, and then I'm just gonna go and get the last 2 pickups.
Awesome,
Or
good stuff.
Check the last 2 to get see which one is the relic.
Yeah, I like this play here from Matter to check the lantern first, maybe placing a save up there for a little bit of a faster backtrack, but this is still probably slightly faster than the long swim to be able to check, unless maybe you have like Grove Teleporter, but both are like pretty far away from where they may need to go. And then in the bottom left, we see AvengedRuler. Now with the correct amount of keystones, they are going to head back to Ginso Teleporter and work their way down through the dungeon. So like really interesting as well is that like AvengedRuler only has a maximum energy of 3. So Mattermonkey was like literally the one who ended up finding like all of those energy cell pickups. So like that's so funny. Like this can just happen in doubles, especially like depending on which teammate goes where and like when they actually end up going for those pickups. But there we go. We see Mattermonkey going into the poison water itself, as Ultra Defense has a ton of health, so very easy to be able to get through this area. No worries that they are going to lose about half their health as they are coming through this swim. It's one of the longer poison swims that you could potentially do.
It was still, well, they have plenty of health at this point, so be able to get through it just fine. And there is the final relic, and Matter will then go and use the teleporter to get over to the final escape in Horu and finish out the steed, as AvengedRuler has just gotten the grenade and will follow just behind.
All right, Mattermonkey is now going to be setting up for door warp in the top left, a frame perfect trick. And they don't quite get it the first attempt. So if you miss it on the first attempt, it actually does become a little bit harder because there's like a way, I don't know if it's like a lag with a load or something like that. I know Vooligen could speak a lot more about door warps, but you can actually end up buffering the input, making it a bit more forgiving. But after the first attempt, you pretty much lose that capability of doing so. So you have to nail the input. But there we go. Mattermonkey able to get door warp. Very nicely done. Very precise trick. Very difficult to do when you miss it on that first attempt like we saw there. Meanwhile, AvengedRuler is going for Valley Long Swim for that final relic.
Yep, and be able to get it, and not too far behind, only about a minute or two. And it does still need to actually get the relic in Blackroot, so it's a bit gonna take a bit longer before Matter or AvengedRuler, and does end up keeping in the wrong place. Those two teleporters are very close together, so it can be a bit difficult to sometimes click the right one if you're trying to go fast. But I do know where this relic is, so it should only take a little while as actually makes his way through the escape and over to the finish in just about a minute or so.
All right, Mattermonkey is now going to be going over. They do not have charge jump, so they can't do the final grenade jump. So instead, they are going to opt to just do a bash grenade and then head on up and then just bashing a few more Sigma rocks. They are going to be able to cross over. Very well done. GG to Mattermonkey. Taking a loss here because Team Bizarre Adventurers have already finished, but very impressive display regardless. And of course, because this is only the first round of Swiss, we still have 3 more matches for Mattermonkey and AvengedRuler in order to be able to take some more wins to potentially qualify for brackets after the 4 weeks of Swiss are over. So GG well played from Mattermonkey. All they have to do is hold to the right for about like 30 plus seconds, as AvengedRuler is now going to be heading over to Mount Horu itself, where they are going to be doing their attempts at door warp, leading them into the final escape. So, of course, as always as well, we'll ask these 2 runners if they would like to join us for an interview. It is always optional. We never force anybody to come in for an interview. So it'll be interesting to see if they would like to share some thoughts about the seeds. But if they don't join us, that is totally okay, because starting in about 45 minutes-ish, we are going to be going into another match. Indeed, we are going to be featuring off another team today here on this Saturday, and that is going to be none other than Ocarina of Uwu versus Scorched Stones, which is going to be Jean Bernard Gaming, aka Ren, as well as Apso, Ruby Yoshi, and Fiery Blizzard, who are going to be putting on a very, very fun display. And honestly, Lion, I am secretly hopeful, well, not so secretly, I guess. I'm covertly hoping that is a terrible seed, just like this one.
Yeah, we'll see. It can be always exciting. A match will be in about an hour and 45 minutes, and not 45 minutes.
Thanks.
Times are count. Yep, something like that. So it'll be just in still a bit of a break, but hour and 48 minutes as of right now, until that next seed, as Ruler does just finish the escape, and we'll just be holding right to get to the end for about another minute or so, as they did not get the grenade or the charge jump skill in Misty, so will take a bit longer, but then they will shortly finish the escape.
Yeah, really. Like, the story of the seed was when the teams decided to go left. Like, honestly, in the mid game, like, they were trading punches like here and there. Like, one team would find a skill, but then the other team would find a different skill, and that was impactful for the seed itself. And then, like, honestly, they went to Horu. They went to like left side of the map at like pretty relatively close times. So really, it was that big play from Sirius to find that charge jump in Misty and be able to grab that hint for grenade, then using that grenade to be able to get that last relic and finish out. But that grenade gate and the glide gate from being starved early on energy in the seed was just really, really massive for the state of the race. And it does sound like they are going to be joining us for a short little break. So we will get to talking to them. Oh, yep. And just as I speak, indeed, we have here Dustforce Enthusiasts. GG's, my friends. Well played. Taking the loss here, maybe not the outcome you were hoping for, but just such an incredible display of skills and randomizer speedrunning. GG, my friends.
Does energy exist?
Not in this seed.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, so, I mean, definitely tell me a bit about those feelings, right? Being enthusiasts of Dustforce, probably one of the most mechanistically difficult and, like, precise/complex in, like, any 2D platformer I've ever seen. And, like, coming into Ori and like, the randomizer in particular, how do you feel about how the seed ended up going? Did you get, like, skill sets that you were comfortable with in the early and mid games, or were you hoping to find something else early?
Well, I mean, some form of verticality, like charge jump or bash grenade, would have been very nice to have significantly earlier. But other than that, it was alright. The seed
Yeah.
felt like it was going pretty good until Valley Relic. Yeah.
I felt like this was kind of the skill set both of us wanted, because we're not quite as well versed in randomizer as some others in the tournament are, so a seed like this gives us better chances of winning, because it's not like a huge jet seed where execution is going to make the big difference. But I kind of played pretty badly in a couple of parts, and yeah, I just had no energy the entire seed and kept needing energy.
Word, yeah, indeed. Yeah, that energy starve is one of the gnarlier things that can happen in, like, balanced fill, especially, right? Because the right side progression was Grotto Teleporter, right? And so, like, then the seed doesn't necessarily have to give you 4 energy unless they end up, like, potentially getting something from forced progression. Otherwise, then it's just the balance fill algorithm doing its job and just randomly placing stuff down all over the place. Yeah, so, like, honestly, I think the mid game is, like, one of the more fascinating that we've seen in Seed so far, because of that, what you mentioned, like, a lack of verticality is really, really difficult to overcome, because, like, Bash does not equal verticality in every single location on the map, especially if you're trying to go in through, like, Lower Ginso or something. So with this, when you were finding Sunstone shards, were you folks communicating and deciding to send somebody to Horu really early on? Or was that just like, you know what, let's make a power play and go to Horu because we're finding Sunstone shards?
So I can speak to this a bit, because I was the one that ended up making that decision. I was just thinking to myself, we've already found 4 Sunstone shards, we've got Bash, probably Horu in logic sometime early, question mark? So I figured at the very least, go get the teleporter, go check the free pickups. If it ends up feeling miserable, just go check something else, at least you got the teleporter.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, honestly, I would have made the same call. I thought that was a really, really clever, like, decision that you ended up making. In the race before this morning, I think it ended up... No. I'm thinking of a completely different race. Never mind. But, like, Horu was that, like, early game progression that was, like, really massive. It was like Stomp or something was the first pickup by the teleporter. But that was a different seed. But for this one, I was, like, really impressed with, like, a lot of the stuff you folks ended up busting out. So late game, right? That was the huge struggle of the seed, was, like, tracking down grenades. Did you have certain locations that you were still trying to check in logic? Or it was just like, whatever pickup I can get that hopefully is going to be grenade. So did you have, like, a plan of attack, or were you just really trying to just clear the map to, like, track down grenade or find that glide to be able to get the hint?
I can let Matter speak to this too, but from my perspective, we were kind of just checking whatever we could get. And
Yeah.
I think I was trying to focus on areas that we hadn't really done a lot of, so I didn't think about it initially, but later on I went to Misty because that was an area that we just like hadn't touched at all, and it's pretty easy to get a lot of the pickups there with our skill set. So that's kind of what was going through my head.
Yeah, when I realized that we basically wouldn't be finishing without another skill, like grenade, obviously, but also I couldn't get the clue in full-on escape without another skill like glide. I basically just opened the map and saw what pickups were in logic and went and checked them. Until we found
totally.
that glide.
Lion, do you have any questions for our runners with Dustforce Enthusiasts? But then I have like a closer question that I can ask.
No, it's just no, nothing else I needed to say.
Cool. All right. Well, once again, Dustforce Enthusiasts taking a loss here versus Bizarre Adventurers. So going down 0-1, but it's not over yet for them, folks. They are guaranteed to fight at least 3 other teams in this Swiss round. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of matchups come from that, with still the chance with being able to qualify for the 4-team bracket. That's going to be the capstone of the tournament itself. So one more question for you folks at Dustforce Enthusiasts. Are there certain teams that you're kind of looking forward to face in the 0-1? Are you trying to look for a matchup that you think is favorable, or do you have like a fun team that you have like a rivalry with that you would like to see on the battlefield? Or are you just going to play your own game? You're just here for rando.
I haven't got any particular teams in mind that I'd like to face, but whoever it is, I'm sure it'll be a good match.
Heck yeah, agreed.
I think the Lions are in 0-1 right now.
Oh yeah.
I think they would be a really interesting team to fight against. We as a team are just like so out of it that every team scares me in this tournament.
That is valid. That is valid. All right. Well, congratulations again to Bizarre Adventurers and Dustforce Enthusiasts. Amazing showcase from both of our teams, but Bizarre Adventurers is going to be taking the win here with this match. But folks, we are not done streaming Ori today. In about an hour and a half, we are going to be featuring off another race for the doubles tournament in their round number 1 match with this Swiss stage for the qualifiers of this tournament. And that's going to be Ocarina of Uwu versus Scorched Stones. I will be casting that one with liftoff, so I'm looking forward to that especially. So we'll see you in about an hour and a half, but make sure to take care of yourself, stand up, stretch your legs, and practice good self-care. But major thanks to Lion Almanar, who joined me on comms, Q-Kill for being an absolute boss in restreaming, and also thanks to Sarah Barron, as well as Turtle Guy 2412 for helping us with the stats behind the scenes, letting us know as pickups were coming in. But from all of us here with the Ori speedrunning community, we wish you well, and we'll see you in an hour and a half. GG.